Rishi Sunak is in real trouble, but it's not, as most people say, because Liz Truss and or Boris Johnson are coming for him. They'd both like to come for him, I'm sure, but I've talked a lot around Westminster, and most people simply roll their eyes when you mention Liz Truss and her famous 4,000-word essay of vindication, and there is no real sense, even among some of the people who were backing her when she was Prime Minister, that there is enough economic leeway or scope for that kind of agenda to come back anytime soon. Boris Johnson clearly wants to. You can't turn or move without Boris Johnson popping up on social media and giving unsolicited advice to Rishi Sunak about jets to Ukraine or cutting taxes or whatever it is. But I think, again, that's very, very unlikely in terms of a full-scale Boris restoration project, because he has this very, very difficult Privileges Committee hearing coming up in March. We expect to see some of the civil servants who've been briefing journalists about exactly what went on in those parties. And I think the general public will look at this and think we don't want to go back to that period. They will remember all the embarrassments and the kind of squalid aspects of that period of lockdown. I think it'll be very bad for the Conservatives, and I think it will remind people inside the party in Parliament why they got rid of him in the first place.
I believe that they were work events. They were part of my job, and
so that's not why Rishi Sunak is in trouble. Britain faces some really, really big and obvious choices about which way we go as a country, which way we go economically and socially after Brexit. And they cohere in three issues inside Parliament right at the moment. The first is whether we should leave the European Convention on Human Rights, which of course we helped create and found after the Second World War, in order to make it easier to deport illegal migrants without an appeal system.
We cannot allow a foreign court to undermine the sovereignty of our borders.
So that's one question. Which side of the fence is he on? Does he want to get out of the convention or not? We don't know, and he won't say.
But what I asked you is whether the Home Secretary is correct to say ultimately we'll require to leave the convention.
As I said, we'll put in place the legislation next year, and I'm sure we'll be discussing it at the time.
Second, this very, very complicated sounding bill, which would basically obliterate all the 4,000 or more laws that we have inherited after our 50-year journey inside the EU. So there's a huge amount of what the EU calls the acquis, the body of law. They cover everything from environmental protection, paternity leave, air quality, beach quality, etc., etc., etc. So a very, very big bunch of laws which affect day-to-day life. They affect how many days you work a week, how many days holiday you might get a year. It's really, really basic stuff. And the government's proposition, which came from Jacob Rees-Mogg while he was in the cabinet, is that all of these laws should vanish off the statute book at the end of this year.
The most ancient democratic parliament in the world has been made powerless. That is the threat to democracy. It is here, but it is on the continent as well.
In terms of replacing them, if there isn't time for Parliament to debate each law, working out how to replace it, then ministers will simply dictate the new laws, which is, of course, exactly the reverse of parliamentary sovereignty, which Brexit was supposed to be about all along. And again, we don't know which side of the fence really Rishi Sunak is on. Is he for the EU obliteration of all their damned foreign laws bill, or is he not? He has to decide, does he want to punch up with the EU or not? If he does want to punch up with the EU, then he's Rishi, the Brexiteer radical.
Now, I voted for Brexit. I believe in Brexit. And I know that Brexit can deliver, and is already delivering, enormous benefits and opportunities for the country.
Or does he look at all of this and think, actually, do you know what? To grow this economy, we do have to have better access to this huge market on our doorstep, and therefore I have to make nice, I have to play nice, I have to reassure the EU that's not what we're doing. And then there is the third thing in all of this, the Northern Ireland Protocol. And that is really trying to resolve the impossible intellectual conundrum that Northern Ireland is inside not one, but two single markets. It's inside the British market and the EU market at the same time. This is causing enormous problems because there have to be borders somewhere. There's a lot of trouble on the unionist side of the Northern Irish political community, and the Northern Ireland Protocol Bill, if it went through, would allow the Prime Minister to simply overwrite, obliterate, smash, or otherwise shred the protocol agreement that this government signed with the EU. It would have a very serious effect on our reputation in international law. The Americans would be absolutely furious. Sinn Féin would not go back into a power-sharing government if this happened. Again, we'd be back into a confrontation with the EU. And yet, all the mood music is that actually Rishi Sunak and the Brussels negotiators are getting on rather well, and that Rishi Sunak is getting on well with Dublin, and that we are moving towards some kind of fudged compromise in all of this. That's what the EU wants, that's what the United States wants, and that's what a lot of people in Northern Ireland want as well. But if he does that, he falls out with the DUP, he falls out with the hard right of his party.
Well, I think we all recognise that the protocol is having a real impact on the ground, on families, on businesses in Northern Ireland, and threatening Northern Ireland's place in the United Kingdom, and I want to resolve that.
So the hardcore of the Tory Brexit family are really riled up, really strong, and absolutely demanding that Rishi Sunak pushes this bill through. The rest of the world are demanding that he doesn't. And again, we don't know which side he is on. Now, this all might sound very, very complicated, but I think it's relatively simple. After Brexit, we have a choice as a country. Do we try and get a bit alongside the EU and get access to their markets again and make the compromises on regulations and so forth that's needed to do that as part of our growth strategy because we have a weak and relatively anemic economy at the moment? That's one strategy. That is what basically I think Keir Starmer and the Labour Party want to do and are trying to do. Or do we go full kind of throttle for deregulation / taxes and all the rest of that? And that, of course, is what a lot of Brexiters wanted right from the beginning. They saw Brexit as an excuse and a mechanism to turn Britain into, in their view, a much more vigorous, devil-take-the-hindmost kind of economy. And the problem they have always had is that I believe, certainly, most British voters want nothing to do with that and would recoil or flinch from it when it was really explained to them. Nevertheless, that is the big choice. Go free market, go Hong Kong, or go European. And on that crucial question, which is about all of our futures, the Prime Minister cannot appear to make his mind up. He doesn't talk about any of this stuff. He never explains it. He dodges the questions. He's gone submarine on it all. And that's why I think, and this is the theme of the column, there is a Rishi-sized hole in the middle of British politics. And I think he's in trouble, not because of Liz Truss, not because of Boris Johnson, not because of stroppy backbenchers, but because, in the end, he is not leading us properly right now.